y'all don't want to hear, but I'm going to say it anyway. I have fought for the rights of children of every color. I'm going to tell you about a woman named Jacqueline Weaver. This is how our story starts. Jacqueline Weaver, she's not poor by any stretch or measure. She's pretty well off. She comes from a pretty well connected family. And she wanted to get herself a baby who was of Aryan features. As we all know, in the United States, the most expensive children through adoption agencies and through the government adoption agencies are children, specifically blonde haired, blue eyed white girls under the age of 6. The younger, the better. But of course, we all know that the next in line after that is boys with those Aryan features. Many people who adopt foreign children, they do not adopt foreign children because they want a Chinese baby. It's not that they want a Chinese girl, it's that they desperately want a baby. And they can't purchase a baby in the United States of their same color. They can't purchase one in the United States because they don't have enough money. They don't have the connections or the cash that Jacqueline Weaver had, or her husband. And they are very well off. Sarasota, Florida, by the way, Jacqueline Weaver. This comes into play even in modern day. The little boy that they bought, his name is Christopher Weaver. And because he was homeless, and because he wasn't actually their kid, even though they tried to give him an Aryan upbringing, he is very much not an Aryan soul. Despite the fact that he tries to pretend he is with the Thor thing and the being an Odinist. Now I'm going to tell you, I have to go to the bathroom, and although I could spend some more money there at Walmart, or more money here at McDonald's, I really need to conserve as much as I can. So, there appears to be a white pickup truck pointing its lights right at me. Oh wait, right in front of me, he's good. Anyway, actually I gotta turn off my lights because my window is fogged up. And until the fogging up is done, I'm kind of stuck here. Oh, it just looked white because the way it was parked, it's actually silver. Alright, so Christopher Weaver, he got his head bashed in with a rock, and there was like 6 college students that did it. He had to spend quite a bit of time in the hospital. The reason he was there is because although he's their child, sort of, kind of, he's a grown-ass adult, and he's huge. He is a very large man, and I'm not talking about fat. He's a very loving, cuddly teddy bear, but he's also sick of being abused, and he very much gets very loud and lets everybody know it. I'm sick of this homeless shit, he says. Unfortunately, the 5 major sites in the United States, per capita, he landed in literally the worst one for his genetics in order to have a baby. If you're poor in the United States government and adoption agencies will seek out your child, specifically because if your child has blonde hair and blue eyes, especially if it's a girl, especially if they can get the baby right at birth, so it never imprints with its birth mother, then that baby, especially a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, like Ogre's daughter, who was born in Boulder County, Colorado, you're looking at $2 million That girl, just because she was born, was worth $2 million. And that's just their cut. I'm not talking about ogres. That's what we called Christopher Weaver. I'm talking about the United States government and or the adoption agency, not considering other hidden fees. Well, it's defogged enough that I can see, but it's not defogged so much that it's completely defogged. Although it's really just foggy outside. But I have to fix that before I can get on the road. Um, let's see what we're working with here. That's plugged in where it needs to be. This is plugged in and charging. This one is not charging. Why is it not charging? Oh, it is. Never mind. Alright, so Christopher Weaver, when his daughter Quilly was born, the only thing that saved his daughter, because literally he was being a good father, but he had to deal with a crazy ex. And because she was female, people listened to her. And she knew that she could lie about him. She could physically assault him at will. And that she could go to one of my favorite officers, Officer Abel Ramos. I love him. But what he done to Christopher Weaver is downright criminal. It is literally criminal. What he did to Ogre, to Christopher Weaver. Because Lexi Delgado was abusing him and wanted to play victim. There was even an instance where Lexi Delgado was not allowed around Ogre anymore because of a protection order, and she wouldn't leave him alone. And she stole their daughter and took their daughter to a different town. And there was another occasion when she took her to the different town. My friend Ryan was with Lexi Delgado in the hotel room watching porn with Ogre and Lexi's daughter. This is not fucking okay. But what did they get in trouble for? Lexi Delgado got all fucked up in the public park, passed the fuck out, and Quilly was running around in the middle of the road. By the way, Quilly is not her real name. I'm using it for her own protection. So, on another occasion, Lexi Delgado had stolen their daughter. This is after the protection order, when she's not allowed around her daughter either. And she went and abducted her daughter and went and stayed on someone's back porch who she's been instructed also not to go there. And she was on their back porch with her baby daughter during a fucking snowstorm. That's horrible. All across the nation, this is happening. We've also got the complete and total destruction of the First Nations. The mass genocide being ignored not only by the federal government, but also by tribal governments. Because they want to have more control than they should have. Alright, I have overheated my vehicle. So I actually have to stay here for a few minutes. And it started fogging up, so I'm obviously going to have to fix that, which will take a few minutes. I suppose I can work and talk at the same time, but I'm going to stutter more. I'm going to and pause more. And I'm not going to apologize. Multitasking, chewing bubblegum, speaking, walking, all at the same time. Well, you have to be able to achieve all tasks. As long as you're able to achieve them decently, Well, great. If not, drop one of those tasks. So if I'm not able to get my car fixed, that's the safety issue currently. So if I'm not able to get it fixed and talk at the same time, I'm going to end the video or just ignore the video altogether. When it comes to missing and murdered Indigenous women, this is absolutely happening. Absolutely happening. This is not a myth. It's not a joke. It's a sick, sad truth of the world that we live in. Just one of many, just like the sale of Aryan children. Children with Aryan features. Children with blonde hair and blue eyes like Christopher Weaver. Children with blonde hair and blue eyes like his daughter. His daughter was unfortunate enough to have been born in Boulder, Colorado, where she's worth a lot of fucking money. A lot of money. And these people obviously have a lot of experience at selling people's children. And over half a dozen people that I know with blonde-haired and blue-eyed children in Boulder, Colorado alone had their children stolen and sold in exactly such a fashion. And their words are actually here on this YouTube channel. I wish that Christopher Weaver's were. Now, the only saving grace for Christopher Weaver and his daughter, the only reason that she was not sold off to some family that wanted a blonde-haired, blue-eyed little girl, and I shouldn't compare this to the Lebensborn program, of course, right? Fine, I'll try not to, because we don't want to make this into a conspiracy theory. We want to stick to the facts. There are differences between this and the Lebensborn program. This is free capitalism. The sale of these children is free capitalism, and it is now ordained by the state and federal governments that the agencies that are stealing these children and profiting from the theft of those children are these agencies, including the judges, including the hospitals. They're all getting money from this. They're not even trying to hide the paper trail because they don't have to. You're not going to look at them. They're white. White people can't be victimized. We all know that white people cannot be victims. This is white on white crime, folks. Why does nobody ever focus on white crime? That's exactly what I'm doing in this very moment. When it comes to adopting a Chinese girl, she is going to be really cheap. It's going to be cheaper to ship her over here from China and get all of that paperwork done and jump through all of the hoops. And you're going to fit the criteria a lot easier. They don't want to give these children to the most loving families. They want to give these children that have blonde hair and blue eyes to the families that can throw the most money at them jumping through hoops. The ones with the financial longevity to do that will make them and their departments a lot of money. So those are the ones that the important children go to. And why are those children important? It's because they're the ones that are worth the most. I think it's horrible, don't you? And then we've got the other side of the spectrum. We've got, of course, just like those white people having their children stolen, just as they are being victimized by these government officials, so are the First Nations, as we have seen, such as the situations in Hardin, Montana, and the surrounding area. And we have to say missing and murdered Indigenous women, because if we say missing and murdered Indigenous people, it doesn't click to you that they can be victims. You're thinking of them as red people at that point, which is fucked up. But when you hear the word woman, it clicks in. Your bias clicks in. You're supposed to care about women. That's where it kicks in. So they had to change the name. But they still have MMIP. Because there are lots of natives who do not, absolutely do not want to forget their lost and stolen Native brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, not just the women. Then we've got the situations, of course, all of these people, all of these situations, all of them extreme poverty. The more extremely impoverished you are, the less likely you are going to be allowed any sort of assistance or actual help. The more poor you are, the longer it is going to take for you to jump through the hoops that they want. And in the amount of time that you're jumping through those hoops, you lose everything that you've got. And then they claim you're an unfit parent, which is what they did to Ogre. He jumped through all of their hoops. All of them. And they still took his daughter. Because he lost everything jumping through their hoops. They made a single father jump through unreasonable hoops. Unreasonably expensive and time-consuming hoops. While he had to maintain a job and keep a roof over his and his daughter's head. And because they made him jump through all of these expensive hoops. Because Officer Ramos is a fucking dickhead. I say that because his bias for women was very prevalent with Lexi Delgado. Ogre never took advantage of her. She took advantage of him, and she tried to take advantage of me. And I spoke up, and she hates me for it. Well, she can hate me. I was there. What she did to myself and Christopher Weaver, the things that she had done to her own daughter, the way that she got her own son killed through nastiness and filthiness. Attempting to sexually assault me, escorting me with her breast milk, thinking it was funny, breaking my computer, in the process of trying to sexually assault me. And then she had sex with Ogre, insisted upon it. She needed a back rub. She had to do it with her shirt off. I mean, come on now. I left, but I had nowhere to go. I just waited outside, and you know what? Here's the thing. What she went down to Pearl Street afterward and claimed is not what actually happened. And all of the things that she did, guaranteed, not only that she, who thought that doing all this fucked up shit, if she made false accusations, after doing all the fucked up shit that she did, that if she made false accusations, that magically the fucked up shit that she did, her criminal record towards abusing her own fucking kids, would magically disappear. Meanwhile, there should have been a long, long record of her assaults against Christopher Weaver, not only in private, but also in front of me. The multitude of times that she has assaulted him in front of me. Several times she bit him hard enough to make him bleed because he was talking to me. She was sitting right next to him. She got to speak, but when he tried speaking, she bit him, and then he's like, "What the fuck was that for?" She said, "You weren't paying any attention to me." And she didn't realize the dangers, and she didn't realize that by doing the things that she was doing, that she was preventing Ogre, Christopher Weaver, from getting their daughter either. The only saving grace that they had is that Jacqueline Weaver is a fucking born and bred goddamn southern fucking Aryan with blonde hair and blue fucking eyes, and she went right in there, marched into Boulder County, Colorado, and bought her granddaughter the same way that she had bought Quillie's father, Christopher Weaver. She'd already been through the process before, and she'd always wanted to buy a girl but didn't have the money. She got Chris instead. Christopher Weaver was the last person known to have seen Mandy Singer's son before he disappeared. After Natalie died, like within a week, I was able to track down Ogre. Even with that going on, with all that hell going on, I was still able to track down Ogre and find out what happened. That was one of the missing people from before Natalie died. One of the ones that they tried to claim that because I made it before Natalie disappeared, that it meant that I had had something to do with her disappearance, and Mandy Singer typed on there. Finally, after 6 years, she saw it and she took a look at it and she realized what an impact it fucking made. She also, when we realized that this was an extremely dangerous situation, she did what she was instructed to do. When it got more dangerous than that, I gave her the cue that it was time to fucking ditch me, hoping that she was not going to be victimized further, but I don't know. She took the cue and she did what she was told. Mandy Singer has two very, very, very important reasons for being very, very, very afraid. And although they go along the lines of this video and the understanding of this video, I want you to understand that theft of children has already touched her on more than one occasion. Human trafficking, you guys want to pretend that it's all sex trafficking. It's not. The United States is a for-profit organization. It is about the money. If you don't have any money, they don't care what fucking evidence you have. They don't give two shits. They're not going to let you speak, and they're going to allow your words to be twisted into something you didn't say. Even if the judge himself has to twist those words, like in my court date, he had to twist his words. Because what Leslie Snell was claiming I had said was not against the law, nor was the context, which they ignored altogether. In a video where I was speaking about how wrong it is to kill people, how wrong it is, with all of these folks like Sarah Bacon telling me that they would kill people. This is the help that I got. Sarah Bacon, who's had her children in her life, and of course her husband's life as well, threatened. Actually threatened. Not pretend he threatened like Leslie Snell after she got busted breaking the law. Yes, there are multiple recordings with her in the room during the situations where I am explaining about my phone and the restricted phone calls and the fact that I do have to record it online. She had already complained to Scott DaCosta, and this is in the recordings here on YouTube, that Leslie Snell was angry with me because she was recorded and on my YouTube channel. This is prior to all the bullshit that she pulled in 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. Actually, I think this situation might have happened in 2020. But the fact that this has been going on with Dual County Sheriff's Department, and he keeps on having to hire new deputies because he has to get rid of the old ones before they're able to be taken to court. All he's got to do is stall it out, procrastinate, and by the time I get out of whatever jail off of his fucking slander and libel and what's the other one? Perjury. And all of these people committed perjury. Every fucking one of them committed perjury in court, including the judges. Each one of y'all, you think it's just your group. You want people to focus on your group. You want to pretend that these other groups are making it up or they can't possibly be as victimized as you? Fuck you. All of you are being victimized and all of you are being bitches about it. First of all, you got the voting booths, all right? If you guys all get together and demand an election on an issue, they have to give it to you. And do you know why they will absolutely give you that right if you have the numbers? Because they are afraid that if they do not allow you your First Amendment rights, that the next thing in our, of course, steps for defending our First Amendment, the very first step after that is the Second Amendment. It's either we the people or the business end. That is how it is according to our Constitution and Bill of Rights, number 1 and number 2. Number 1, we're going to say something about you pissing all over us. That's number 1. Number 2, we're done taking your shit. That's number 2. Piss and shit. And we're fucking done with it. Despite the fact that Christopher Weaver is no longer my friend. We no longer speak to each other because of the situation with Natalie Bollinger and the way that he treated me. The way that he went out of his way to pretend like I was a bad person for asking for help after all of the shit that he put me through. All of the hell that I went through while he was trying to keep his daughter. All of the hell that I went through afterwards, trying to take care of his dog, making sure that his hotel room didn't get all tore up. Thank you for the hotel room. But also, I didn't make any money during that time. Him and Lexi Delgado were both supposed to pay me for that. And they never did. They were both supposed to pay me for babysitting their daughter, too. They never did. But also, with what Ogre was going through, I had to accept it. When he said every single day for like 3 months that I'm literally not going anywhere. I'm at his hotel room and it's fucking... It sucks. And then, of course, Lexi Delgado not being allowed to come over there. She's violating the protection order every fucking day. Ogre's like, I don't know, dude. Maybe she's talking to my mom. Maybe she's got my grandma's number. I don't know, dude. I don't know why she keeps showing up. I don't know who keeps telling her where we're at. But just like with Molly, how her lies, when she doesn't get what she wants, become more and more and more advanced. Same thing with Lexi Delgado. And it got to the point where she was doing some straight up psycho shit to try to pretend that Christopher Weaver was a horrible person who was doing horrible acts. And he wasn't. Laura Nelson can speak about a young man named Creeper, and she actually knows him as Rick. She knows his first and last name. He had to go through a similar ordeal. And despite the fact that I can verify he did not do what he was fucking accused of doing, that it was a situation where somebody who was underage could not take no for an answer. And she was pissed off and wanted to retaliate. Well, you know what? Rick had a baby on the way. and he had a common law wife named Kim, and he lost that over false allegations. I didn't have her number or any way to contact her or any way to let her know that they were false allegations, that I was there, that I knew that he didn't do any such thing, that I knew that this underage girl who was all fucked up on alcohol would not leave him alone. She knew how old he was. She knew that he wasn't interested. The fact that there were at least a dozen grown adults in that room, including the people who own the fucking place, who never said a word, never spoke up for Rick. And what did he have to do? He had to flee. He had to flee because a little girl had a crush and didn't get what she wanted. And he ended up in Sydney, Nebraska at the Walmart flying a sign with a friend of his. And Laura and David Nelson saw him there, and they picked him up and they took him home like a puppy dog, and they fed him and they fixed him and they feeded him. But Kimberly, she had blonde hair and blue eyes, and I always wonder if they took her kid too. And I know that Tammy Mensher had to worry about that as well. In Boulder, Colorado, if your child has blonde hair and blue eyes, you are in the epicenter for people who want to buy them. I mean, this is a upper echelon kind of place. You've got Hollywood stars that have vacation homes in the mountains and in Boulder itself. You got famous people that want to live just a few doors from Mork and Mindy's house from the movies or from the TV show. These people have the money to do it. They're big Hollywood stars. You can walk down the street on any given day. If you're on the right street in Boulder, Colorado, you're going to see a famous person. You're going to see somebody who bought a vacation home. You're going to see somebody like Patrick Stewart. You're going to see somebody like Chuck Liddell. You're going to see somebody like Jennifer Garner making a movie with Ben Affleck. I didn't see Ben Affleck, but I certainly saw Jennifer Garner. The movie Catch and Release. You can look it up. One of the scene locations, Pearl Street Mall, Boulder, Colorado. And not that anybody would, but you can ask Jennifer Garner if while she was making the movie Catch and Release, while she was walking down the street in front of the courthouse that's on the Pearl Street Mall, if a homeless man yelled at her, "Congratulations," and she yelled back, "Thank you," that's when I realized she had an entourage. I was quite a ways away and didn't realize it was Jennifer Garner. I just knew that it was a pregnant lady. I wonder what her stance is on human trafficking, on the number of rich people that move to a picturesque Boulder, Colorado, quaint little village with a little hint of city. Very much a liberal brand to the city. And the city works hard to maintain that. They try to pretend that Boulder is a liberal utopia. We're better if you hold Nazi sentiments than to live somewhere like that. We're better if you're a child molester than to live somewhere like that, where you can say, "Oh, I'm against these things." Yes, obviously I live in this area, so I must be against these things. But the reality of it is, we know that it's happening. We don't have any Hollywood stars or starlets speaking out about the horrible stuff that is going in a rich person place like Boulder, Colorado. There's another place that's similar. It's another one of these Aryan hideout stronghold places. It's, I guess it's pretty high on the list of blonde-haired, blue-eyed white children under the age of 6 being stolen from poor people. Also, something you might not know is that the rest of them are actually entire states in the South, all of them. Um, Very interesting numbers and statistics and demographics. These are the most poor families in the country, the most hillbilly, the most redneck, the most southern pride out there, and they're even getting their children stolen and sold. Some of you are like, oh, well, that's better. Better they're not raised by a redneck off in the woods, teaching them how to be racist assholes. Well, not all of them are racist assholes. Some of them are just ignorant hillbillies. And some of them, you just assume that they're ignorant hillbillies. They're highly educated. There's a man by the name of Jeff, and here, let me get my car started. His name is Jeffrey Witcher, and he's from Virginia, and he was a nuclear technician. And one thing that he told me that's obviously very true, I've read this before, he said, it's a lot tougher when you got a southern accent. People just assume that you're stupid. They'll drop 20 IQ points off you just because of your accent. I said, that's absolutely correct. Also, when he was growing up, he had black friends. He was a poor folk. He was a poor folk. You know what poor means. If you're poor and you have a black friend, it's not because your parents' maid doesn't have enough money for real child care. So you have a little black kid to play with who's the kid of the hired help, and anytime you go tell on them, anytime anything goes wrong, it's that little black kid's fault. Well, that ain't cool. With Jeff, the way he grew up, if you was friends with a black kid, you was friends with a black kid because you was friends. He taught his boys right too, as far as that goes. They ain't racist either. But them drugs, they get you doing evil shit. Andrew Witcher couldn't stay off the meth. And he did things that monsters do. There are things that you don't do to anybody, let alone your own family. Let's see if we get this goddamn thing working. Nope. We cannot drive if we can't defog the vehicle. Which means I gotta relocate things. When I speak about MMIW, some of y'all almost listened. When I made that video about the missing and murdered women of Hardin, Montana, that got 15,000 views when Selena Not Afraid disappeared. It's just horrible that it took a tragedy like that for you to listen. By that point, that video was already 10 months old. Until Selena Not Afraid disappeared, there had only been 56 views. Obviously, people who didn't care. But when they looked up Hardin, Montana, after Selena Not Afraid disappeared, they saw my video. It helped to bring awareness, and now it's all over the news. People are actually paying attention to Hardin, Montana, and all the missing and murdered people from that area, not just women. Thank goodness. My notoriety did something. Yeah, sure, people wanted to accuse me of doing horrible shit to her, but isn't that just the way it goes? When people have made a decision about you that they're going to hate you and they're going to haunt you, it don't matter how much good you're trying to do, they're going to step in the way of progress. They're going to get in the way. The KKK is stepping on their own fucking feet. BLM is stepping on their own fucking feet. MMIW is stepping on their own feet. You know why? Because they're not fighting for anybody else's rights, and that's why everybody's fucking racist. All these poor people being victimized, and they're all at each other's throats instead of their predators. They're all blaming each other for the fact that the United States government don't give a shit about any of them. The United States, the people in family courts getting this, want to pretend that the family courts are the worst. And their argument is valid. The ones who are homeless having to go through the courts and jails, theirs is worse. And their argument is absolutely valid. Homeless people, though, especially homeless males, they have it worse than anybody. Worse than anyone. Demographically, as far as being shot by the police, men are actually number one on the list. I kept on misquoting that. My most sincere apologies. I did mention on multiple occasions that the reason that I didn't put men at the top of the list is because most lists don't list that. That's not a qualified reason, apparently. Demographically, number one is men. Regardless of color, regardless of skin color, regardless of mental ability, regardless of age. Men are the most likely to be murdered by police. They're most likely to be the victims of violent crime. There is a lot of shit that is horrible, and it all goes to men being number one on the list. Because even though homeless men are victimized at a much higher rate than all of these other groups, even in that scenario, it is primarily men who are focused on. And the majority of the men from these other groups who are being victimized specifically belong to the homeless or the disabled. You talk about how wrong it is, but you'll change the laws, but give them no teeth by having no civilian oversight, by making victims go in alone. Even when they try to explain to you that they can't, they are not capable. That they will be victimized. You think I want to go to the police in this town knowing they're fucking KKK members within their ranks? Especially after the way I was spoken to? God damn it. It ain't defogged my window yet, but lo and behold. Oh, I guess it did defog my window. That was condensation on the outside. I'm not going to have the greatest visibility out of the side windows, but I'm sure I got something I can wipe them down with so I can at least see temporarily. Oh, yes. That lady gave me these two terry towels. I use one of them for scrubbing my nuts if I find a solid oak tree. Alright, not the best joke. And I'll use the other one for wiping the condensation off my vehicle, or off my windows, so I have the best field of vision. When I say no victim left behind, you know, I fought for Ogre and his child for a long time. A long time. I still fight for his rights as a parent, and it is abhorrent that he was forced into poverty the way he was. That he had his skull bashed in by college students in Boulder, Colorado, and the police laughed at him about it. Refused to investigate. Why would they investigate college students? They've had enough scandals with college students, it makes them look bad. Why would they help victims of rape at the college? Like, what was her name? Michelle? God, I wish I could remember. and of course Teresa and Cecilia. One of them was raped and she fought back. And when she went to turn it into the cops, they didn't charge him with rape. They charged her with assault. The other one, she was a nurse or a doctorate student. She was going to school to be a doctor. And she was raped. And she didn't fight back. Obviously, with what happened to Teresa Massilia, she knew not to. So they charged her with false reporting, did not charge him with rape. Because obviously it couldn't be rape because she didn't fight back. Yeah, if their liberal image is that important to maintain and protect, you can imagine what it's like for poor children knowing that they're not worth fucking spit in a goddamn bucket. They got to go through fucking $6,000 worth of wasted time and gas and all sorts of other hidden expenses in order to get $50 worth of fucking help. It's not help. That's fleecing the poor. That is a fucking horrible thing to do to a human being. Forcing a homeless person or a poor person to waste tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars they literally don't have. And using tens, if not hundreds or millions of dollars to prevent them from showing evidence, from showing the truth. Paying professionals to be rubber stamps for each other. Eventually, they stop looking at the fucking evidence. They stop checking to make sure if it's correct. They just sign their fucking name to it because they were told by another quote-unquote professional to do so. Asswipes. You steal the black children. You steal the white children. You steal the native children. You have raped our First Nations down to almost nothing. Tamsin Bowles was talking about that. In her case, how this was worse than rape. It truly is. They fucked with their kids. Just like they fucked with Candace Bonderon's kids. Not okay. I am not going to stop fighting for the rights of children, regardless of their skin color. Regardless of you telling me that one race doesn't deserve it, or deserves it more than another, or one skin tone, or one gender. No, none of these victims should have to go to the back of the bus. None of them. We know that police officers and judges are being busted nationwide, doing exactly the things that I have been telling you that they are fucking doing. For God's sake, help me turn them in. It's fucking red tape that is killing all of us. All right. That's good to go. We know that that functions. It takes a village to raise a child. If black folk, white folk, Asian folk, and the First Nations cannot come together and agree on the color of that shit, how the fuck are they ever going to combat it? With as much time as they saying, hey, no, look at us. Look at our children. Our children are more important. Our children are being ignored more. No. You're fighting to get your story told. We the people means that you need to understand this is our story. This is the story of us. This is the history and the legacy that we are leaving for the world. For our children, for our grandchildren, for years to come, to try to combat and unfuck up what we fucked up for them. You want to say I can't say nothing about your parenting? You goddamn wrong about that. If your little fucking cheese dick asswipe is a little fucking goddamn villain, I'm gonna fucking say something. If he's fucking raping people, I'm gonna say something. If he's abusing little girls, I'm gonna fucking say something. I don't give a fuck if he's your goddamn pride and joy. He's a fucking predator. And if he's coming after me and my fucking family, he done fucked with the wrong dude, because I will make it fucking public. I will let the whole fucking world know and then some. And you can see these guys do their best to destroy any all evidence of their wrongdoing. But there's still enough up there for a lot of fucking convictions. And there's enough evidence of the situations with the evidence and how they got taken and how police dealt with the situation to show that I literally had to go to fucking druggies and try to get help with the things that were stolen. The evidence of people's children being stolen, being raped, being molested, being fucking killed for Christ's goddamn sake. That includes children of the First Nations. That includes black children. That includes white children. That includes the story of Christopher Weaver and the hell that he continues to have to go through. The forced poverty and the destruction of his good name. The destruction of his physical body. The destruction of his finances and his credit. Which, of course, in America is your lifesaver if you are poor. You can buy shit on credit, but many of us, we never got to buy anything on credit. Ever. Except mounting hospital bills. They get to our credit. And you say, oh, well, they're not allowed to do that to affect your credit. Yes, they can. If all you need is a friend to drive you to the fucking hospital, it'll take them fucking 20 minutes to get your eyeball checked out. 20 fucking minutes of his goddamn time and a little bit of gas, and you can fucking reimburse that, no fucking goddamn problem. You can take that out and trade. Fucking go mow his lawn for a couple of, oh shit, god damn it. Alright, so I forgot that the roads here get slick and I just ran a red light. That is my bad. I admit that I did it. It did actually literally just happen. And I admit that I just broke the law unintentionally, but it did fucking happen. Oh wait, I never admit to anything I do wrong. I must be perfect in every way, blah, 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 fucking blah. You want your victims to be perfect, right? Well, I'm not. I'm not fucking perfect. I got sick and tired of people fucking threatening to kill me and my fucking family. I got sick and fucking tired of people goddamn assaulting me and then fucking playing victim, or threatening to kill my fucking family and then fucking playing victim. I got sick and tired of people offering to help me and then getting a hold of me and saying, Sean, I'm scared. People are threatening to kill me and my fucking family. And I'm tired of those actual people in their own voices telling me these things are recorded on my fucking YouTube channel, and still nobody has done a goddamn thing about it except treat me like I'm fucking crazy for shit that is fucking blatantly obvious. Is Molly a figment of my fucking imagination? No, she is not. I think it's too late to use the bathroom here legally, but I have to fucking drop a deuce. God damn it. This is the only place even closely resembling a public restroom open this time of night. And you know what? I have to shit. I'm not going to shit my pants in my fucking car. You know how this works. You either do your best to do it right and properly, or that shit's going to make a fucking mess in your drawers. It's going to make you fucking stink, and people are going to treat you like you're a fucking nut. So, how about we do something? How about y'all uplift the First Nations and help find their brothers and sisters? How about y'all uplift these white folks who are having their children stolen because they're worth a lot of fucking money? How about we lift up these black parents having their children fucking blasted in broad goddamn daylight? And for God's sake, please do something for the poor. Because in all of these cases, it is the poor who are being targeted. The poor in the First Nations. The poor in the quote-unquote white society. It doesn't even want them. Why do we have Southern hillbillies screaming Southern pride when the South don't even give a fuck about them? It's 10:13, so it was illegal for me to park here to use the bathroom 13 minutes ago. But you know what? If an officer gonna come here and fucking shit me about this, he's got a lot bigger fucking problems morally. Work together. Work together. Stop going at each other's throats. Let's say a cop, let's say he rapes a Native American woman, rapes a white woman, and rapes a black woman. Should those three women work together to make sure that he never gets to do it to anyone ever again? Or should those three women go at each other's throats and argue about who's more victimized, who's more marginalized? Selena Not Afraid. That was the disappearance that brought attention to my videos, and my videos, in turn, brought a lot of attention to Selena Not Afraid, especially given the fact that I'd already been priorly accused of horrible shit that I didn't do. But thank goodness it is out there. It's sad that Selena Not Afraid was not found alive. It's sad that the year before, her sister was killed in a hit and run over by the Billings airport. It's sad that her twin sister, Zoe, was the youngest suicide in Montana history at 11 years of age. Selena Not Afraid was 16 years old when she died. Killed by her own people. Matter of fact, one of the people who was with her sister, I believe her name was Teresa, but I could be incorrect about that. One of the people who was with her sister, Teresa, when she was clipped at the airport, and they never found the killer. The young woman claimed that she couldn't remember anything. And also, the night that Selena Not Afraid was dropped off in a blizzard, that woman was also there. And same story, could not remember anything. She couldn't remember anything. Couldn't remember anything. The tragedy does not stop there. Her Facebook was Selena Bell. When people accuse you of killing somebody, especially when all you're trying to do is help find that person because their stuff came across your timeline as somebody who is needing help to be found. And, of course, then people want to accuse me of being a horrible fucking person. Doing horrible shit. But her name was Selena Not Afraid. Her Facebook profile took a white name, Selena Bell. And her brother, Preston Bell, is another tragedy in that family. He was murdered by police. See, black folk, it ain't just happening to you. See, white folk, it ain't just happening to you. It's happening to us and our society. And we've got predators who have children too that are using their children as an excuse to pretend like they're afraid after they have done horrible things to at-risk adults. And of course, also to children, including their own. Please help us stop this. Please help us stop this madness with the courts, with this immunity from having to follow legal procedures or anything even closely resembling the law when it comes to the poor. Where a couple of letters after your name are more important than the evidence, we've got major issues, and something needs to be done about them. Anyway, I am at the restroom over at the skate park. I'm going to make sure that everything that might be worth some money is covered up. I don't want anybody to see it while I'm dropping a Duke, bust my window, and I mean, I literally can't run after them. Even if they ran the direction of the porta potty as I was coming out, I literally cannot run. When people tell me to fight back or run away, both of those are not possible prospects when I am assaulted. Even if I were capable of physically defending myself, it's barely. And I get charged as a criminal, even if I don't try to defend myself. Being assaulted into moving, and then being told that I'm resisting arrest because they're hurting me. And I'm trying to readjust just enough so I'm not in severe fucking pain. And then they try to hurt me more. Stop trying to fucking hurt me. Pain initiates the fight or flight mechanism. I'm trying to turn in predators and I'm being abused for trying to turn in the predators who are fucking stealing and abusing your fucking kids. What the hell is wrong with you? Get your head out of your ass. Y'all want to tell me about this love and light and religious unity and, you know, God loves all of his children and all this, that, and the other. Show me. Show me your Jesus. Show me your loving Muhammad. Show me your loving Yahweh. Show me. Don't talk about it, be about it. Don't talk about how something is wrong. Do something to stop it. Do something to stop it before it happens. If somebody is telling you that they are being abused, help them. If people had helped me before Natalie was killed, not only would Natalie still be alive, but those people wouldn't have done such horrible and atrocious things to try to hide the fact that they didn't give a shit enough to help out a male, especially not a homeless male. All of these parents should be ashamed of themselves because they didn't speak up when it mattered. A lot of other people's children were victimized, and a lot of other people's stories were not heard. Thank goodness the notoriety and hatred towards me resulted in people actually going out and making more of an effort to find a Native American girl than I have ever even heard of. The last time I even heard of a Native American being looked for with that many numbers, it was Geronimo, and that was in a movie. Selena Not Afraid, that's not a movie, that's real life. That's what we actually live in. Imagine being the family that lost 5 children. 1 to police, 1 to suicide, 1 to a hit and run vehicle, and 1 to being murdered. I've spoke about that method of murder before, haven't I? It's used commonly against the homeless. They're talking about making anti-camping laws. That means you won't be allowed to use a blanket or any sort of a shelter if you're homeless. If you're in an emergency situation, you have one choice and one choice only, and that is to fucking freeze to death. That's what they want you to do. That method is called exposure. And that is why, when I spoke about Native American women there and the method by which they were being killed, that is why people took such an interest in the story that I had told. Not only did I speak about the missing and murdered Native women of Hardin, Montana and the surrounding area, I also spoke about the methods by which they were being murdered. Exposure to the elements, exposure to the elements, exposure to the elements. And that includes children. Both little boys and little girls. Where's the Amber Alert? Alright, so I still have to find my toilet paper because it's rare that they have toilet paper in there. Or somebody steals the toilet paper, or of course there's always got to be some asswipe who thinks it's funny to piss all over the roll of toilet paper. I also got to find my flashlight because I want to know which toilet it is that somebody shat all over, because I don't want to sit in somebody's diarrhea when they didn't want to sit on the toilet. They didn't want to sit on the toilet when they pooped because they were afraid they might have sat in somebody's diarrhea. So when they had diarrhea, they end up splashing diarrhea on the bathroom and themselves being stupid. So, yeah, grab a flashlight. Y'all might not think that all this little shit that I gotta do and gotta jump through and gotta worry about is all that important, but it truly is. These signs up here, these not after 10 and not before 4, this is to prevent homeless people when your children are not supposed to be here. They want to prevent homeless people from being able to utilize this place to sleep in an area where you are not. Between sleeping in the fucking bushes over by your house, hoping that it's a good enough hiding spot for the cops not to mess with you, well, wouldn't it be better that we slept somewhere where obviously your children aren't playing down here at the park? They're in fucking bed. Alright, your children are not skating at the skate park between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. They are at home in bed. Good luck waking your kid up at 4 a.m. All right. Well, I do have a little mini flashlight that'll have to work. It's right here. I got these at the dollar store, and I put a rubber band and a popsicle stick on it. And the rubber band and the popsicle stick that are attached to it make it so that it'll stay on. Otherwise, it'll only stay on if I press the button. Now, some people might be offended by the name of this video because, of course, to them, the word Aryan gives them, of course, a not-so-nice reaction. It doesn't bring good things to their frame of mind. We've been taught so much about Nazis and the Aryan Brotherhood and all that. That's what we identify with it. But really, what you should identify with is the fact that it's not the fact that they are Aryan, because they're not. It's the fact that they have Aryan features. And it's horrible. When I say that I fight for black rights, it's because somebody has to. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. taught us that.
that it's not just about black rights. It's about all of us. Equality means for all of us, and he pushed that heavy. Bonjour, folks. All right, so I don't want you guys listening to me shitting myself here in the Port of John. So you know how we end these videos. Good to be with you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and no victim left behind. Now let's turn on my flashlight and hope we don't see a whole bathroom full of shit on the walls and shit on the seat and shit on the floor and shit in the... Alright, there's some urine on it. I did not bring enough toilet paper. Well, I think I did. Them turning on my car almost sounded like a cow for a second.